Alrighty, folks, I officially want to welcome you to my second candid Q&A. This is Brannon Beliso. I want to thank everybody for coming on the call with me today. You know, our industry is ever changing, and there's so many things going on in it all the time that, even I don't know what to do, what programs to choose, what systems to adopt, how to train a team properly, how to deal with all the challenges that we face on a daily basis. But the one thing I do know consistently in my life is that no matter what choice I make, it has to resonate with my core values and my purpose. So any information that I share with you today, it really is rooted deeply in that foundation. And I say that passionately because I believe in things like integrity. I believe in things like honesty. I believe in doing the right thing by people above all, above monetary gain, above ego, above social gain. It's really, really important to know that at the end of the day, when you lay your head down on the pillow, you're cool with everything that goes on in your business and your personal life. So, we want to be really mindful of that when I share these different things with you. The bottom line is no matter what system you're doing, no matter whether you have bell testing fees or you don't have bell testing fees, it's really what you believe in. We did this whole thread at Facebook about testing fees. Do you believe in them or not? I don't. But hey, I have the great respect for people like John Broussard that's sitting there laying down 30K a month in just bell testing fees alone. He believes in them. It's standard policy. His team has no challenge implementing and administering that policy, so it's fine. Does that make sense? Whereas in my school, it's kind of like when you go to Disneyland. Could you imagine paying to get on every ride at Disneyland? I don't believe in that. I like the all-inclusive mentality. So we just work it into our tuition, and we have no bell testing fees. Do I think it allows my team more time to serve people because they're not busy gathering, monies and dealing with administrative and paperwork on all the processing for bell testing fees? Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, it's about what resonates with my core values. So fair enough. So right now, before we get started, pull out a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you to write down 3 core values that are absolutes in your life that I don't care what trend, what's going on in an industry, hell or high water. These 3 values you will never compromise or give up. So do that for me really quick. And if you have any of them, go ahead and type them in that question box there. Just pop a couple in. 3 values you will not compromise on. Any of them? Anybody got some good ones? Pop them in. I'm looking. Be it honesty, be it integrity, be it community, all the different things. All the different things that resonate with your core values. Yes. Yeah, honesty, integrity, family, right? Awesome stuff. And we know that. And see, when we talk about that value system, that's it. You come to my martial arts school, we are a family martial arts school. That's why we don't have MMA. That's why we don't have Krav. That's just us, see, because it doesn't fit our core values of being a family environment. So that's why they don't work. I'm not saying they're not great. I'm just saying for me, they don't work. So everybody writes them down? Good. Anyone else want to pop one in there and share it with us? All right, cool. So I'm going to move this along, but what I want you to do is reference that. Look back at that piece of paper. When I'm answering these questions, look back at that piece of paper, and I want you to ask yourself, anything he's saying, do these resonate with my core values? And if they don't, out the window they go. And that's really for me a pretty simple system that I use all the time. I know what my core values are. When I'm looking for a product, I'm looking for a system, I'm looking for a program to implement into my school. If it doesn't resonate with my core values, I don't use them at all. Fair enough? So make sure you write those down. All right. So moving on. Just quick stats. People wonder why should I listen to Brannon Beliso? Well, it's unfortunate in our business that some of the only reasons people will listen to you is because you're doing well, quote unquote, by industry standards. So here's some quick stats on my school, One Martial Arts. We currently are operating one location with a second slated to open in 2015. We have 550 active students, which is really cool. We gross an average of $1 million annually. We've done that for 5 years, across the board for 5 years. So we're pretty proud about that. We operate at about a 25 to 30% net. The cool thing is that we achieve this gross in only 3,800 square feet. So that's approximately $284 a square foot. And by most standards, that's really high. It's the same formula restaurants use. So it's a pretty good number to look at. I don't look at student value. I look at what I'm making per square foot. To me, and it's more tangible. It's comparable to a restaurant, a dry cleaner, other small businesses. So it's a picture that I see much better. 2011, I was on the site, 40 to 50 hours a week. 2013, I'm blessed to say I was able to check out of the school from June 1st to August 1st. It was supposed to be 4 months until October. I actually didn't teach again until October, but we had some major challenges in our business, which I can touch upon later if it's something you want me to share. What's neat about it? My business model, we have no contracts, upgrades, bell testing fees, or heavy retail sales. Again, that's my core value because we are a service versus sales based business. You know the old business model between the front door and the training area. What are you going to find? An office. That's a clear indicator that that person's going to sit you down, try to get you to sign a contract, try to upgrade you to a black belt club, try to implement belt testing fees, built-in sales, new uniform with every belt level, right? New set of equipment with every belt level, and you're pretty much held hostage. You can't progress to the next belt unless you buy all these additional pieces of equipment, and I don't believe in that. I believe in overvaluing, over-servicing people, and if we focus on serving versus sales, then we don't live with that fear of making quotas and making quarterlies and things like that. None of my people get paid commission. None of them. Everybody works on a great hourly or salary, and they have pension and benefits. So I'm really proud of that. So just keep that in mind. My model is different than what's out there in our industry. And I love to share that passionately with people simply because it's an alternative. We know our standard industry, black belt club, masters clubs, upgrade, 3-year contracts, 2-year, 1 year, cash outs. We're conditioned to believe that. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just simply saying there are other ways. There are other ways. Look at Top Kick. I mean, they're running 6 schools and they have none of those hidden fees, no bell testing fees. None of that stuff exists. We're very proud to say that is a movement that I believe is going to perpetuate in our industry more and more as we go along. Great. More people are on the call. Good. And as you come onto the call, feel free to type in those questions. Ooh, I love respect. We all talk about integrity. I see that in there a lot. Integrity. I dig it. I think it's really cool. But let's define integrity really quick. Integrity for me simply means to do the right thing. That's it. Integrity is to do the right thing. If they say he's a man of integrity, she's a person of integrity, what they're really saying is they trust and depend upon you, by your example, that you will always do the right thing. So let's not just talk integrity, let's live that idea of integrity. Cool? All right. So going on, let's get right into our questions. Ooh, I love it. So first question is, when you introduce a new class or class time, how do you recommend populating it with current members without allowing existing classes to thin out? That's a great one. I think with any new class, it is either it's there because you're accommodating the growth of your school or in the anticipation of that growth, and that's a good thing, right? The only time you add on more classes is when one class is getting overpopulated. So does that mean that it's going to thin out for a while? Absolutely. Should you be okay with that? Absolutely. My mindset there is that you always want to create your scheduling based upon your student population's need. Right now, we're really heavy at the lower end. And it just happens to be that way. We're really heavy at the black belt end. So we've adjusted our schedule to offer more classes for the beginning and our yellow belts to come to classes. And that was strictly based upon need, but it was because of the overcrowdedness. And the thing cool about that, if you have smaller classes and they thin out, so what? What that just means is you now have the opportunity to serve each individual better because it's a smaller class, it's a smaller environment, which allows you to serve them better. Make sense? So, we currently, for us, we offer beginning classes 6 days a week to remove that one question because it's about removing obstacles. Does it fit my schedule? Isn't that the number one thing that a parent will say to you, a brand new parent or potential prospect? Does it fit my schedule? We hear that all the time. So make sure, my recommendation with beginning classes, have them across the board 6 days a week, and also build in a makeup policy. We have a makeup policy that within a week, you can make up that class as long as it's one of your other class times during the week and it's not a closed class, because some of our classes are completely filled up and they're closed. I think the value of a makeup policy is, again, you're over-servicing people. So you want that in there. So your fear of it thinning out, no big deal. No big deal, because that's anticipation of the growth, right? Or your classes are packed and you need to add more classes. So that's a good thing. All right. If most of your leads come through a website, do you do any phone or email follow-up for those who do not purchase once they opt in? Well, let's talk about that. First of all, I don't get most of my leads through a website. So you're saying that you do. If you get most of your leads through a website, then you need some type of email marketing campaign in place, a flow, as Ron Sell would say from Rainmaker. I use email marketing program through FC Online that's tied into my website. I use a sales-based website currently with FC Online Marketing. And there's a lot of them out there. I think Display 69, there's tons of them. Nowadays, could you do your own through WordPress? Absolutely. Could you put it with a squeeze page and capture their information? Absolutely. But what good is it if you capture that information and you don't do anything with it, right? That's basically what you're saying here. They opt in, but they haven't signed up for one of your specials. Well, that's why I love the email marketing machine that Michael Perella is using with his FC Online. And there's other ones out there. This is just the one I'm using. The point is, they're going to send information. It's not just going to go, you haven't signed up yet. How come you haven't signed yet? You should sign up. You should sign up. No, they're really great tidbits of information about how to raise your kids better, how to stay in shape, why the martial arts is really cool. It's got facts in it. So it's not just bombarding you with these kind of spam type emails where you're just trying to get people to sign up. It's really what they do. I have found many of my parents were compliment to me, is that, wow, it just gives me so much information to be a better parent. So be careful when you're looking at those different devices out there for email marketing. Look at the copy. See if it's strong copy. Make sure it's not regurgitated copy, that it really has a clear vision and purpose of not only getting them to opt in, but keeping them interested until they finally get into that position where they want to buy. So most of my stuff doesn't just come through a website. We have so many different ways to do that. Now, do you do any phone? We don't do any phone. Think about it. Do you like it when people call you in the middle of dinner? Do you like it when people call you when you're not ready to buy? I don't, not at all. To me, it's something I just don't do. We like direct mail pieces. We will do an email. We're starting to use text messaging a little bit, but even then, I'm careful. I really believe it's about attraction, not promotion. And if you have a great product and people, and they're getting those emails steadily and it's out there, then they will come to you. Remember, they have to be ready to buy. I believe our audience today is so savvy. They do their research, they do their homework, they check prices, they do all the review stuff. And that's why I do believe reviews are huge right now. You got to have great reviews across the board, not just at Yelp, but you've got to have them across the board. That it's no longer about calling people. I think calling people is really passe. I think it falls into that same line as telemarketers. And tell me, how much do you like a telemarketer? Is that a relationship you want to invest in? Ah, this is a big one. How do you move forward with staff if they don't seem to be able to grasp the changes needed to reach the vision? Well, I'm here to tell you, if you have team or staff that don't get it, then it's like pushing a big rock up a hill. If you're spending all your energy and time trying to sell the vision to one of your team members, then that's the wrong team member. As Jim Collins said in Good to Great, get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seat. So that may be your biggest challenge as you're starting to define your vision and your purpose. You're finding key people currently in your organization don't fit your vision. So what do? You sit down and have a really good talk with them. Have that meeting. Say, hey, here we are today, and here's where we're going to move to. How do you feel about that? Ask them, and you'll begin to see it. And if you've had a long relationship with them, and they can honestly look you in the eye and say, I don't dig the vision. I don't dig where you're going. I just went through that. I went through that with several key people, and a couple resigned, a couple I let go. Because as we change, and change is the key to growth. Don't think anything else is don't think your school's gonna grow if you do nothing. Nothing changes until something changes, right? We get that. So I think one on your part as the school owner, please be very, very clear about your vision. Because if you're clear about your vision, when you're doing your hiring, when you're doing your firing, when you're making job descriptions, when you're deciding, your mission statement, then that vision is really clear. And then it's pretty much, a clear shot to who you want to fill that position. And if it's somebody currently on board, that you love dearly, if you can train or retrain, and I've had that challenge with my own sister who works for me, and but she's getting on board with it. She's seeing the value, and sometimes some people take a little longer than others. You just have to decide the value of the relationship. Is it worth investing in? Do you believe this person genuinely loves, what you do and loves the school and they're a big part of that culture? If they are, then keep working them on the vision. But ultimately, if they don't get it and they're fighting you, kind of like those helicopter parents or those parents that sit in the waiting area that might be disgruntled, they're poison to the rest of the parents. Well, it applies the same way here to your team. If you have a disgruntled employee who's not happy, who's bad mouthing, they bring that negative energy to your school, to the mat, to the classes, and infiltrate your family and students, not a good thing. Then you have to let them go. I mean, when the day's done, that's it. And I know it's a tough thing to do. I've had people that's worked with me 20, 30 years, and I've known that I've had to let go. And it's a big bummer, but you get me. It's really about fulfilling the vision. And that's what borrowing from a 12-step program they're out there. It's really about principles before personalities. If you're going to base your business and your systems and how you run it, and you're going to base your vision upon someone's personality in your business, you're in big, big trouble. You really have to establish the principles, with that vision and purpose, and live with that. Fair enough? Cool. All right. This one here, how do you maintain retention and renewals when pricing is an issue due to errors and discount issued by former employees? You know what? Eat it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Eat it. I had that yesterday. Right now we have a tuition increase in January, and I'll get into that more with this other question someone's asking me. But we have a special this month. You buy a 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, when your membership pay in full, you get 10% off. I'm cool with that. We also have a $69 4 weekend uniform special. And it says if you sign up before your 4 weeks are up, we'll credit you that $69. Well, one of my team members said you could get that $69 credit back because you signed up before your month was up. And you can also get the 10% off because that's our special this month. We have a very distinct policy. We do not combine discounts. Well, guess what? This employee forgot. They said something they shouldn't. I don't think this client would make that up because they're not privy to that information unless it was offered them. So we gave it to her. I have some kids that have been on private lessons. We have a family. Check this out. We have a family of 3 kids that do private lessons every Friday. And they've done private lessons on Fridays for about 4 years. And all 3 of them are in group classes. Could you imagine the revenue they're generating from my school between group classes and private lessons? And one of their son is a black belt, by the way, that's starting to teach for me. And he's really a rock star coming up in our instructors in training program. They still pay the same private lesson rate they paid 4 years ago. You really got to look at that. I know some members will see it as a price increase, but in fact it isn't. It's simply regulating pricing. You want to be mindful of that because can you lose people? Absolutely. And if you're losing people because they can't afford you, then they haven't planned accordingly. They may not see value in your program, or genuinely they can't afford it. It's all of the above. But if your goal is to get your tuition rates up because of cost of living, whatever the case may be, because you're not even up to industry standards, then you need to do that. And you need to do that with total confidence, knowing that if that student's going to leave because of just pricing, then you should go back to the blackboard. Take a look at your curriculum, take a look at your staff training, take a look at your customer service, and say, well, what can we do better? Because you're not in control of that variable of people actually financially can't afford your services. You're not in control of that variable. So all you can do is look at what are you in control of. I have 1 finger pointed at you. I have 3 pointed back at me. So I'm accountable for those 3 fingers. So I look at curriculum, staff training, my level of customer service, all those different things come into play to say, well, maybe if I had a more valued product that was perceived that way, then that little tuition increase wouldn't have been an issue. So long story short, eat it. Because when your employees make an error, like I said to the parent yesterday, we apologize for the inconvenience. We apologize to you for the misinformation. And because of that, we will honor the discounts that the so and so staff offered you. But moving forward in the future, please know we do not combine discounts. Cool? All right, let's see what we got next here. Let's see how many we got on the call really quick because I'm just having a good time. Cool. Cool. We got great people on there. All right. All right. Dale's there. Mr. Richardson, Tiffany Richards. Awesome. A lot of cool people. Right on. And keep any questions. You can type in some questions there if you want as well. All right, as we're going along with this. Cool. So now here's my shameless plug. I'm going to take this opportunity to do this. I believe in win-win situations. What I think is really unique about One Merit Badge is what makes it extremely innovative is we don't charge you a monthly subscription. I think for me, Dan Kennedy said, if you want to succeed, find out what everybody in your industry is doing and do the exact opposite. So there's no monthly subscription. We don't make you buy things you don't want. You simply pay as you go along. So from a small school owner viewpoint, you're only buying when you need, as you need. I think that's extremely powerful. But what makes One Merit Badges really, really cool is that it's about educating your community. So there's a mat chat, which my team rocks every week because we practice it in our instructors training. There's a student parent handout, which you give to your parents so you educate them on the value of your life skills. And then there's instructor handout. You want to help a 14-year-old rock star SWAT team understand why we're working on community for the next 2 weeks, then have it in layman's terms. Have it written out in kids' terms. And that's what makes it super cool. The display cases are awesome because the kids see them. So if they can see them, it's kind of like a kid in the candy store. They want to collect them. They look at them. Your instructors see them. They use them more. And they're a wonderful enrollment tool. We use it when we do the family badge. It's super cool. We take the family badge when the kids getting sized up for a uniform, and we'll say, in our school, we left her on our badge. It's the coolest badge in the world you'll ever earn is the family badge. In our school, family is the most important part of our life. But you can't earn this badge from me. You got to earn it from your parents at home. And mom's crossing out 1 month and upgrading 3 months or 6 months on her own, without you doing anything, because they're recognizing from day one, you're investing in a relationship with them. Day one, you're a life skills education leader. We know it's a fact. Anybody can teach a kid to kick and punch. Anybody. Well, not anybody, but we'll be kind with that. But the thing is, if you really want to be a life skills education leader, one, do your homework, do your research. Just don't make something up on the fly because you're a black belt and you think you have that knowledge. There's so much psychological research and study that goes into this. And I respect people like Powerful Words and Dr. Silver. Silverman, there's some great people out there, you know. I mean, Robin does amazing work. And Melody does amazing work. And I'm on the cusp of that too and constantly learning and growing. So I see some of the character villains that are just haphazard and made up out of convenience. I would be really careful with that, okay? So that's what's cool about it. You see the little girl there smiling? They love the badges. They're super cool. Instead of some star or chevron, they're walking around with things like discipline, respect. I had a kid sign up one time. I asked the mom why. She goes, I was standing in the grocery store. I saw this kid in front of me, and they had discipline, respect, family, confidence. I don't care if you teach my kid to bake cookies. So you get where I'm going with that, right? And to finish that up, I've got really cool people that endorse us. People like Rocky Abill up in Kirkland. He's rocking out there. He loves One Merit Badges. As he says, it's revolutionized how life skills are taught at his school. Tom Callos, who's a dear friend of mine, cutting edge of our industry. Such a community minded, way beyond our time. I think he's like the Einstein of the martial arts industry. He thinks it's an excellent investment. Of course, Roland Osborne, another great innovator. I love Roland dearly. I am a hyper pro training partner of his. He's an awesome soul. So all these people dig it. And just today, anybody on the call, normally it's $199 for your starter kit. We'll give it to you for $149. If you have any questions about that, just find me at professor@onemartialarts.com. Let's move forward. Okay. All right. So thank you for my shameless plug and allowing me to do that in all this craziness. Wow, we got more people on the call. Very cool. Keep them coming. Hey, and go ahead and type in some questions on the bottom. Oh, Dale says the badges are awesome. Kelly Nova says, how much approximately per month is your marketing budget? That's a good question. I'll get that just because you wrote it live, and then I'll hit these other questions. How much approximately per month is your marketing budget? That rule of if you can get up to 20% of your gross, that's kind of crazy, huh? That's kind of crazy. But I've heard that figure. Really, it's about not how much you're spending that you budget. It's about being creative. Even a school like mine that's grossing the monies we do, we're still mindful. We use guerrilla marketing where we'll take a little takeaway and put it on the windshield of a car. I'll dress somebody up in a Kung Fu Panda suit and put them in the middle of the busiest park on a summer day in the afternoon, and we're blowing up One Martial Arts balloons, giving them to kids with one of our takeaways handed on it. I mean, whatever you can do. We even hang flyers where you rip off the phone number in laundromats and Jamba Juice and Starbucks bulletin boards. Anywhere that you can. You could spend thousands of dollars on a full page ad and get nothing out of it. You could do one self-defense workshop free at your school and get, 10 good leads. So I think spend what you can, but spend smart, spend wisely, spend based upon your demographic, based upon your vision, and spend with a sense of being creative. You don't want to market one way to 70 people. You want to market 70 different ways to 70 different people, right? So you're doing all these different types of marketing. You're going to find if they say our yield is 1% return, 1% return, that's so yucky, right? But hey, that's acceptable. Okay, great. Try to find ways to get up around 3%, 4%, whether it's direct mail. I do believe in the seasonal direct mail. I stopped doing it for a while, but you hit them up just before summertime with camps. You hit them up at back to school. You hit them up in January, February again, right? I mean, even before, I'd say late December, January with all the fitness stuff and people New Year's resolution, direct mail pieces can work. If I'm going to direct mail piece in the middle of August, it's going to fall flat, right? I mean, the middle of July. So you want to be mindful when you do those things, right? Back to school, New Year's, and the other. So let me get into the other questions. Keep typing them in. I hope I answered that well for you. Slow down a little. It's the way I am, Sophie. Everybody says that about me. That I speak fast. I love to speak fast. I love to speak fast. And that's what I do. I'm the kid who runs hard, Sophie. And if you keep up, good thing. But I'll do my best to slow down. How do you build a staff member to take over the floor? I think one, it's really recognizing people's potential. It's never been to me about who throws the best front kick. It has never been about that. When I'm looking for somebody to build in my staff, one, somebody who gets the vision, somebody who's passionate, somebody who's teachable. Oh, that's the big one. Are they teachable? Somebody who has less ego than everybody else. Somebody who lives by humility. And above all, somebody who genuinely wants to serve other people. That's real important. If they're passionate and it's in the good nature of who they are and they love to serve people, that's where it begins. And then from that point, it's really about having a great system in place. We have an instructors in training program, and that's one of the questions here. So I'll kind of piggyback on that question that's down there. Jumping around a little bit. How do you think it's the best way to develop an instructor training program? How do you duplicate yourself? Well, don't duplicate yourself. You don't want a bunch of minions. You don't want a bunch of robots. What you do want are people that are team players. They're going to work within the systems that you create, and you're going to let their personality shine through that. A great system allows for creativity. It allows for individuality, and it actually encourages it. The old rule of command and control, do as I say, that doesn't exist anymore in the business world, or any business actually. If you go to any great company like Zappos, Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and we have all of these here in the Bay Area, San Francisco, they're really about perpetuating a culture that's based upon individuals with like-minded thinking working together. So look for that. And then how do you do that? With our instructors and training system, one of my favorite programs I use is Millennium Training by Roland Osborne. That was one of our foundation pieces. I also have Dave Kovar's boot camp, his instructors in training. I've taken that several times. Right now, he comes out to my school every year, once a year, and he trains my team, and he holds an instructor's boot camp for people. So I took Roland stuff. I took Dave Kovar stuff. Definitely Melody. Oh God, Melody Schumann's Little Ninja. When it first came out, it's the rock star. She's revolutionized everything with her skills, program and stuff that's out there now. But Melody was a huge influence on me when I first opened my school and I was trying to understand the preschool market. And then I took all those three different people who influenced me greatly, and I developed a program. I developed a program based upon my core values, of course, and my own belief system. So, God, those are four great minds right there that I've been able to draw upon to do that. And then how do you get them to take over the floor? It's really about letting them wade in the water first. So that's why we have different levels. What I learned with Roland Osborne, first, we have what's called a class leader. Their whole job is to get in front of the class and demo a technique. They stand in front of the whole group and do the, 3-move self-defense move or whatever. They do it and they demonstrate it as a leader. So everybody knows specifically where they are and what they want to progress to. Next would be somebody that holds pads. Next would be somebody that can teach 2 kids. Next would be somebody that can lead a class. Next would be someone that can lead a class, do a math chat, and be able to run the floor and assign people to different classes and do that. So there's different levels, and you want to make sure you have very clear expectations, with your team. So try to envision that from the time you choose somebody, and it doesn't have to be a black belt. It could be a yellow belt, somebody that just rocks, and decide, well, how am I going to get them from here to being a floor manager? And that's ultimately what you want, right? Somebody that can run that floor, run the team so that you don't have to be there. Cool? All right. Let me get to some of these questions up top here. And keep typing them in, please. Keep typing them in. All right. So my question is, how do I increase my tuition without offending students and possibly losing them? We're going through this right now. We're having a tuition increase in January. We have two programs, a once a week program and a twice a week program. A once a week program is going to be increased by $10 a month. Our twice a week program is going to incur a $20 a month. So first of all, we've been promoting this since the beginning of this month. So they have November and December to prepare themselves, get ready to recognize when their EFTs come out in January. They're going to change. They're going to be $10 more or $20 more. But you know how we're promoting it? We have a tuition increase of $2.50 per class. See it? So it's really how you choose to look at it. One guy said, wouldn't you pay $200 a month to change your life? You can use that angle too. The other thing we're doing is between November and January, we're having a great paid in full. And I mean, that's a tough word because these cash outs, you want to be mindful of them. You have this great month with cash outs. You got to recognize that money needs to be spread out over 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. So we're all cool on that because I know there's this whole controversy of, no more cash outs, no more cash outs because they're an illusion. You get this money and then you spend it all. Well, you got to be smart. You sock it away for a rainy day. We're doing early registration right now for day camp, and we're bringing in, tens of thousands of dollars on day camp. And and we've got to spread that out until next June. So we're mindful of that. But would you rather have that money in the bank now, collecting interest, money that you can work, money that you can use to grow your school? So it just depends how you use those cash outs and paid in fulls, okay? So we have 10% off if you buy a 3 month, 6 months, or 1 year membership and pay in full. I have people that aren't due until March of next year physically buying a year membership now, paying in full, so that they don't incur that tuition increase for a whole nother year until 2015. Can you see that picture? So we call that grandfathering in. Grandfathering in. And then above all, you won't offend anybody. If your level of service is top notch, if the curriculum you offer is top notch, and I mean top notch in that you're always improving the curriculum, you're always improving your customer service, you're always raising the bar. We just did a $30,000 renovation in our school, $30,000 renovation. And you know what that equated to? Happy parents. Happy parents. So that's real important to me to do things that are really visible and obvious like that to not only our team, but to our parents, to our potential students, that we're always improving our product. As Toyota said, Kaizen, constant improvement. So if you offend a few students and you possibly lose a few, that's going to happen. But if you look at the long-term growth of your school and what you're trying to achieve, I believe you can do that. If you need to sit down that one student that feels like, oh, wow, you're raising the tuition again, sit down with them and say, hey, you know what I can do is, how about you purchase a year pay in full right now? We got this great special. It's going on for 2 months, 1 year pay in full, 10% off. And I'll even take it another step. How about I divide that up into 3 payments for you? Always work with people and remove as much resistance as you can. Does it drive my team crazy that some of our policies are flexed? Absolutely. Would you ever just walk into the ring and fight somebody with one game plan in mind? No, you make adjustments on the fly. Same thing here. If you have a student that's a rock star and they're on the fence about quitting or staying because of your tuition increase, there's other things going on. I truly believe that. But do you need to be flexible enough to offer them a situation that works for you and them where it's win-win? Sure. Can you see that? So you want to be mindful of that. And then if anybody wants my instructors and training program, I would definitely just shoot me an email at professor@onemartialarts.com and I'll happily send that over to you. And how do you duplicate yourself? Throw that out the window. For me, that's for me personally, it's very egotistical. I don't want to duplicate me. What I want to do is empower people. What I want to do is inspire and motivate people to greatness. What I want to do is through the systems I create and the ones that I use that are already out there that are awesome, what I want to do is help each individual recognize their full potential. Can you see that? So if you're spending time trying to write a system to duplicate you, forget it. Forget it. I think that's a waste of time. What I really want to do is develop systems to inspire people to greatness. All right, let's see if we got any other questions on the fly. Keep them coming, love. Oh, good. Michael's raising his tuition. Good. Good. Let me go back here. Ooh, lots of them, lots of them. We are in a small town. Okay. I would like some pointers on how to duplicate myself. Yeah, but think about it. You know why I gave up on that? My top guy is 22 years old. He's a rock star. He's running that floor like nobody's business. But you know what? I'm 51. I've done martial arts 46 years. I've been teaching for over 30 of them. I can't expect him to have that maturity. He has to grow. You can't tug on a young sapling and say bear fruit. It's not going to happen. So that's a mute point. I wouldn't spend my energy doing that. As I said, I would develop systems that are going to inspire people to greatness. We have about 130 people. The town is a school sports driven. Yeah, okay, great. Any advice on how to compete more with these school sports? I'm going to give you my answer on that. Get rid of bell testing fees. People look at me like, what? My kids are into swimming. Every time they go for a ribbon, every time they go for something, nobody charges me a bell testing fee. Every time my son goes to a soccer game, et cetera, nobody's charging me fees for any additional fees on top of things. I agree. Roland said that once. We're not in competition with other martial arts schools. We're in competition with sports teams, soccer, baseball, football. So I found a couple of variables that have helped me tremendously because kids will do on other sports. We have a once a week program. So guess what? All these rock stars on twice a week, basketball season rolls around. Instead of putting their membership on hold or quitting altogether during basketball season, guess what they do? They convert to a once a week student. So we still have that income, and we charge 129 for once a week. So we still have that income coming in. We still keep them in the mix. They're not totally out of the martial arts. And we see it seasonally with baseball, soccer. Certain kids will do that. And we're grateful because we're not losing their income altogether and they're not getting away from the martial arts. Out of sight, out of mind. So if you keep them in the mix, that's a huge, huge thing, right? Let's move along here. How did you get to 200 students from 100? You know what? I'm going to tell you my story on this, and this is a true story. I didn't take my first business seminar until I had about 350, and I took it with one of the big wigs out of Denver, Colorado. And he starts this webinar. This seminar was at a hotel. Holds up his keys, and he says, "What do you see?" And I said, "I see key rings." He goes, "No, no, no, no. What do you see?" I said, "Sir, I see key rings." He goes, "No, you see a Porsche key ring." So you know where that was about. It was a sales-driven type uh, workshop, whatever you want to call it, conference, and it's just not my thing. So halfway into it, he looks at me, he says, "Sir, how many students do you have?" I said, 350, sir. "And what systems do you use? What phone scripts? What upgrades? What black belt clubs? Masters clubs? What systems do you have?" And I looked at him and I said, almost with embarrassment, "Sir, I don't use any of those things." And he looked at me and he said, "You really must love what you do." And that's when I knew I was on the right track. Believe me, do it smart, do it right. To get that jump from 100 to 200 students, I just did work with that with a school out in Livermore, two schools, and one just broke 200. First, she looked at her pricing. One, she's a new school and she's going to lock people into a minimum of a 1 year contract. I said, I would encourage you, get rid of that. Develop a month to month. These people don't know you. They're not invested in the relationship yet. Make it as easy as possible for them to get through the door and to stay and test ride the product. In our school, we have that 3 month membership. It sells more than any other membership we have because 3 months is doable, right? It gets them to the next belt. It gets them, it's that watermark. So you can make that jump. Make sure again, they adopted my life skill program, but it could be powerful words. It could be anybody. You need a strong backbone of character development. Because if you want to differentiate yourself from anybody out there that's in your neighborhood, and I can look out my front window and I can see Five Animals Kung Fu. I can see Duck Fai Wong School. I can look up the street and see a Hapkido guy and a Japanese guy. I've got 4 schools within a block and a half radius of me. A block and a half. And you know what sets us apart? Customer service, our life skills, all the different things that we do. So I wouldn't look at more ways of generating leads and stuff. I would sit down and say, okay, why are we stuck at 100? What's going on here for us? And what is it going to take? Not by going out there and getting 50 more leads, because if we can't keep our students and they're going out the back door just as quick as they come in, then that's a moot point. So I would look at my curriculum. I would see where the holes are. Look at your retention. Oh, everyone's quitting at yellow belt. Well, guess what? Our curriculum sucks at yellow belt. We need to work on it and revisit it and change it. Maybe they're not signing up at all after your 1 month trial or your intro. And we'll get to that too, because that's a question here, how we do intros. Hope I answered that, MJ. What's the best policy to set your tuition rates? 4% tuition increase on a yearly basis. It's cost of living. We try to do that, but we haven't raised our tuition. We do it every 2 years just because of the way the economy's been. And you want to be mindful of that. But as long as you got great family discounts in place and stuff, I don't think people will sweat that. So when you ask me what's the best policy to set your tuition rates, are you asking me what gauge do I use to establish how much I'm going to charge? Can you give me a little more feedback on that? Yeah, and MJ, I think I answered that question. How do you make that jump? Really, it's somebody made that great post that they offered me, about an egg. And it's one of my motivational things at my brandonbeliso.com and my Facebook. If an egg breaks from the inside out, life is born. If it breaks from the outside in, you know, got scrambled eggs, right? So you want to be really mindful of that. When we look at a lot of these challenges that are out there in our business, we're often not looking at the right thing. When you say, I want to get from 100 to 200 students, how to make that jump, we're thinking dollar signs, we're thinking monetary, we're thinking of doing more fairs, more school talks, things like that to get students through the door. What I would focus on is how to keep the 100 students I have really, really well by serving them really, really well. Because guess what? They'll refer other people. We know internal referrals are still the number one way to generate new leads and new students. I believe the best lead I could possibly ever have is from a referral. We do Groupon, we do Living Social. None of those compare to a direct referral from another parent. We know that. So take care of the 100 you have really, really well. Take a look at your curriculum, take a look at your level of service, and work from the inside out. Dale, when you decide to increase your tuition, were there any perceived increase in services to your clients that could suggest the reason for the increase? Yeah, some might think it's because we just renovated. Some might think that. But we've tempered it. I added a black belt workshop, which I teach exclusively, which is free. We do that once a month now, and we just did one of those, and they loved it. We've added a couple more community events. We're going to do a Christmas event where they have arts and crafts, cookie decorating. It'll tie into our super sale. We do a lot of community-based things where we don't charge our parents for. We do a big family picnic, 500 people with jumpers, face painters, balloon twisters, DJ, catered lunch, free. I pick up the whole tab. It's about 7 to 10 grand. We do Mother's Day, Father's Day parties. We do Family Day. We do all these different events, and they're free of charge. Workshops, self-defense. I travel to these different schools when our parents ask. All of it's free of charge. So they get the value, the perceived value. But, if someone's not happy with the tuition increase, Dale, guess what? They're going to find some reason to pick it apart and leave. You can't, again, you can't be responsible for that. Again, perceived added value. If they think they're getting more than they pay for, they won't mind any kind of tuition increase. Do you have any suggestions on how many paid staff members per school student count? People criticize me for this all the time. I believe one of the obstacles we face is you'll hear a parent say, how many students in a class, right? One of the big questions when they're signing up, how many students in a class? We are proud to say we work with a 6-to-1 ratio. So for every 6 to 7 students that are on my floor, you will see at least a senior instructor, an assistant instructor, junior instructors, team leaders. For every 6 kids, you're going to see an instructor. Now, is my payroll high? Yeah, my payroll is about 25% of our gross. So roughly in 2 to 250,000 a year, I spend on salaries and pension matches and all that. But I'm going to tell you about that. Restaurants spend about 30 to 35% of their gross on paying staff. See, it's again your perception. Now, restaurant is a service-driven industry. Aren't we a service-driven industry? There is nothing worse, and that's why I believe rotating curriculum came out of, and we do rotating curriculum, and I love it, but it came so one guy could teach 3 belt levels and rotate them through. We know that's where rotating curriculum came from, but it is a crime when you have one instructor running 30 students. When we're running through something, if somebody's challenged right away, boom, we give them to an assistant and they work one-on-one and help them and give them that little bit more love. So, in answer to that question, 1 to 6, man, for every 6 students, there should be one instructor. And don't be afraid to pay more because it will translate in the end. I'm raising my tuition in January. So do I send an email, snail mail, or speak to my members? All of the above, Michael, all of it. We use a thing called Constant Contact. We already started pre-framing it in our November e-newsletter. We put it in our hard copy newsletter. We have a sticker. We use a regular Avery sticker we'll print events on. We put in one that said, please avoid the tuition increase. Take advantage of 3-6 month membership paid in full. It's a sticker. We stick it on the kid's sleeve. So when he leaves the school, the mom rips it off later on. Don't give him a piece of paper. It'll end up on the floor in the garbage. So we've used it for buddy days, day camps, and those stickers are magic. I cannot tell you how many parents have signed up for different events now because that information is actually getting to them, because the kid will get to them. They may miss you in the spam email. They may not look at your constant contact e-newsletter. They may not pick up the newsletter in the school. They may not look at the bulletin board, but you know what? They're going to take that uniform off their kid. And when they've got that good Avery label stuck where the kid can't rip it off, don't put it in front. Put it on their back. Put it on the high part of their shoulder. They'll be able to see that. So you want to do that as well. Every possible vehicle, Michael, you want to share so they don't feel like it's just been dropped in their lap. Is that cool? Nothing's changing on the screen right now, Randy. Yeah, right now we're on the same picture because these are questions that are coming to me on the fly. These are all the questions people are typing in, Randy, sir. So I haven't changed slides in a while. I just want to be cool and try to get these different questions. We are evaluating our upgrade programs for next year. How do you set up to not have an upgrade program? Eliminate it. It's that simple. Get rid of it. What I found out, again, this is my core values, please, please, please. I hear people say, my SWAT team, my storm team, they're rock stars. I love it. Anything that promotes, your school and stuff, that's all really, really good. The thing I would be really mindful for in our school, I don't believe in separatism. I don't believe in elitism. Someone said, well, it's like, first class on the plane. I said, well, share that experience with me. You're sitting back in economy. You walk in and walk by everybody that's already seated from first class. How does that make you feel? Well, I don't care. Yes, you do. So you just, kind of shuffle back there to economy, sit down there with your knees up in your chest and someone leaning back against you already, or someone falling asleep and drooling on you because they're right next to you. And then they close the little curtain and they tell you that bathroom that's within eye shot, you can no longer use. It's for first class. You got to walk to the back of the plane and use that, correct? So tell me that experience is a good one. It's not. So what you're telling me, if I pay you this dollar, I get this level of service. If I'm going to pay you that dollar, I now get to be in the special league club and get cool weapons and uniforms and this and that and this and that. And I'm challenged by that. You walk into my school, you will not see a red uniform, a blue uniform, a white uniform. You will see everybody in a black uniform, all with the same logo, all doing the same business. People say, well, how will you know who the instructor is? It's the guy teaching. It's the guy who's going to be the first person to walk up to you and say, hi, welcome to the class. We're glad you're here today. It's going to be that person that walks up to your parent and sees how your child is doing in class. That's how you will know who the instructor is. Fair enough? So you do. I don't believe in upgrade programs. We don't have a black belt club. Our instructors in training program, you're nominated, you're elected, you're invited. It's an elite program. There's no additional fees for that because I don't believe in that either. I'm going to charge you to be in my leadership program and I'm going to make you teach for free. Oh, that's not a win-win. So I'm mindful of that. We don't charge for the instructors in training program, but we ask them, please teach 1 hour a week, volunteer. Fair exchange, parents are happy with it, we're happy with it, everybody wins. So in phasing out, you're saying, how do you phase them out? All these things I'm sharing with you. We are a culture. We are a community of one-minded people, and our goal is to eliminate separatism, elitism, and we find sometimes with the different clubs, there's cliques. The Masters Club hangs out with the Masters Club. Black Belt Club hangs out with Black Belt Club. We want everybody to promote a sense of equality. We want to promote a sense of oneness with our school, so this is where we're moving to. And people say, well, what happens to your retail sales? You don't have all these built-in sales. We get the Century Award every year, gold, platinum. We sell like, $40,000, $50,000 worth of stuff every year. That works for me, right? That's $3,000, $4,000 a month. That works for me. But as I say all the time in our school, we are not a retail store. We are not a retail store because we're not there to sell. We're there to serve. Tiffany, you mentioned that you have a 1 and 2 day week program. How do you have do you have an unlimited class program? No, we don't. No, we don't. But here's what we do have. Whether you're once a week or twice a week, and this is again, that perceived added value, we have an 8 a.m. practice class, which you can come to for free, if not the preschoolers though. We have a monthly workshop for people that they can attend based upon the tips we're working on that month in the school. And then people buy private lessons. We do private lessons to the tune of about $100,000 a year, $100,000 a year in private lessons. So it's good income for us as well. So we don't have an unlimited class program because the challenge with that, and I'm sure everybody will vouch for me, you get somebody in there 5, 6 days a week, you're going to burn them out really, really fast. It's better you keep them hungry, wanting to come back to class to get more. Now you got that rock star that you know is going to be an instructor, get him in the instructor's training. We have hyper. Hyper we don't use. We don't charge people for hyper. Again, we nominate people, we elect people, and they get invited to do hyper. So we have all these other things built in, but we don't charge more for it. Charge a premium dollar, offer a premium service, then you won't need to have all these different programs. Simple, once a week, twice a week. Real simple programs if you do that. How do you do $129 for once a week? Again, you got to look at your area. We know Houston is strapped. I'm in San Francisco, you guys. You have to look at that demographic. We're not talking McDonald's. Somebody said that to me. Well, a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese is the same in Houston as it is in San Francisco. Go to Japan and buy a quarter pounder with cheese. You're going to pay $8 for it. That's not always true. So you've got to look at your demographics and your household income, combined household income in your community, and see what it supports. So, you're saying, how do I get $129 for once a week? You know how much I get for a private lesson? I get $80 for half an hour. I get $160 an hour for a private lesson. I think that's nuts. But if people are willing to pay it, so be it. So please don't outprice yourself, Bill. Look at your demographic. Please, Bill, look at your demographic and be mindful of that, right? The worst thing I could ever do is compare myself to somebody else, because I'm always going to find a rock star, like John Broussard that's got 10, 11 schools and go, wow, I don't have 11 schools. I could look at the guy that's still teaching out of the park and rec. So really don't do that. Look at your community and see what it can support financially. Fair enough, Bill? Do you have a separate curriculum for once a week memberships? No, actually what we did when we revamped our curriculum, which we do every couple years, but be mindful. I'm going to share this with you very clearly. I am a traditional martial artist. What my guys do for black belt, I did for black belt when I was 17 back in 1979. So I want to be really, really clear about that, okay? We add on things like hyper. I love Melody Schulman's program. She's a rock star. I love these different things that are out there, but I'm mindful. I'm rooted deeply in traditional martial arts programs. So we just revamped everything. Whether you're coming once a week or twice a week, guess what? They do the same curriculum to get to the same tip. The twice a week kids, one day is curriculum, the second day is a sparring class. So that kind of balances it out. The once a week kids, they rotate. One week they do kata, next week they come back and they do their tip and kata for the first 20 minutes, and then the rest of the class they spend sparring. So they don't do as much sparring as the twice a week program, but they're doing as much time that's needed to earn that tip. Make sense? What is your tuition and what discounts, if any, do you have for multiple family members? I'll post that for you. Again, email me at professor@onemartialarts.com. Here's our basic rates. $209 for month to month. $189 for 3 months, $179 for 6 months, and $169 for 1 year. Now, people say, well, what do you do if they're in a 1-year program and they quit in month 2? Well, if they quit in month 2, we view it as a 3-month membership. Guess what? You're going to pay me $20 for the first month, $20 for the second month, and I'm going to charge you $189 for the 30 days out. You get that? So we don't hold their feet to the iron for the whole year. We just say, hey, you're quitting in month 2. That's no longer a year membership. We view it as a 3-month membership. They're happy. We're happy. There's no hard feelings. It's fair. Does that make sense? The discounts that we offer, there's a birthday discount. When it's your birthday, you get a little postcard in the mail saying discount off all our services. So that's in play. Twice a year, we do discounts like we're doing now. The discount is 10% off of 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year paid in full. Family member discounts, what do we have? The first family member gets 20% off. The second family member gets 25% off. And then the fourth family member would be full price again. Fifth family member would be 20% off, and so forth. We don't have a lot of big groupings of family, so we find that 2 pay full and the rest are free. That never worked for us. So we find this helps our cash flow a little better, and we feel like we're getting a value out of each student. How do you manage 1 or 2 twice-a-week students' attendance? We're using Rainmaker. We run everything through iPads. And we take attendance. It gives us a chance to, it goes really fast. We do it through our iPads. It's fast. We get a touch point with the students, which we love. The person taking attendance says hi to the kids, how they're doing today, and they clock them in. Imagine a kid trying to look for a scan card, or a 4-year-old holding onto a scan card, or us using Rolodex cards. I mean, we're at 550 students. How are we going to do that? We'll spend most of our class doing attendance. So we have a rock star assistant or a junior leader taking attendance with an iPad, and that works really, really well for us. All right, these questions keep coming. I want to get to all of them. We only got a few minutes, but I'll keep answering them if you want to stay with me, people. I see everyone hasn't left the call, so I'm really humbled that you choose to hang on with us and stay. I hope the value's there and we'll keep at it. How do you set your rates initially when you first open up your school? Again, obviously you want to do your research based upon the data in your neighborhood. If you want to compete with the guy down the street and undercut him a little bit, you can do that too if you're just starting out. Honestly, I think you should decide what your value and your worth is, because you can't go back and lower your prices later. That doesn't work. You can only go up from there. So, you got to base it upon the area, the income of combined household income. Look at the demographics. You got to be mindful of that. And please open your school in an area that's prosperous. One guy opened his school because it was in the neighborhood he lived in. It was one of the most lowest income, poor neighborhoods possible. And I said, why did you open your school here? Because I live near here. And that's not a reason. Do your research. Do your research. How do you keep the balance of financial boundaries, your passion in serving your students when you see someone who really benefits and needs your, Sophie, I think we have a scholarship program built into our school. I scholarship people through a prison outtake program. When they come out of prison and go into probation, we offer scholarships to them. We offer scholarships to underprivileged kids. We have a system to review that, where we'll look at everything from their tax returns to their financial situation, their check stubs. And if they can't absolutely afford it, I've done it many times, especially in this economy. Classic example. We had a parent come to us going, you know what? My husband just lost his job. I can't afford to have both boys here, so we're going to take them both out. I immediately looked at them and said, you know what? I'll scholarship the first. You pay for the second. When things get better, let us know. I kept the income of one kid. We kept the family happy. It was win-win. When dad got back on his feet, he was grateful. Boom, started paying us right away. Fair enough. So again, it is a balance. Is it a little more paperwork with 550 students? Absolutely. Never have that hard-nosed, cutthroat, policy. This is the way it is. Try to look at things case by case. People will invest in relationships. People will not invest in just a school. Fair enough, Sophie? All right, let's see what else we have here. Of all of these free events, you simply include your overhead for all the added value. Yeah, we factored into the tuition. We basically know, but look at we talked about that advertising dollar, you guys, that 20%. So I don't just factor it into the tuition. I look at a lot of these as advertising, promotional costs, and I budget them that way as well. Because I don't want to keep gouging my students and parents and keep raising the tuition every time I get a wild hair. I want to do some, cool marketing scheme, right? So you want to be mindful of that. Yeah, Michael, it's a great idea using those stickers. They're really cool. They're really cool. How do you charge for private lessons? We work on a sliding scale, Chris, and that sliding scale is, I'm the highest paid because I'm the most experienced. Clear down to our junior instructors at $35 for half an hour. I'll even use a lot of those junior instructors and say, hey, come in 15 minutes before class. I want to give you a complimentary private. We do that all day long. Take 15 minutes with this junior instructor. Again, we don't want kids to fall through the cracks. We want them to earn their tips, their stripes on time. We want them to progress. Boom, they're gone for 2 weeks of vacation. They come back. Mom doesn't want to buy private lessons. Guess what? That kid's going to quit. Is it in your best interest to comp them a private lesson? Absolutely. Get him back on board. Build up his confidence. We have the greatest gift in the world. We can give people confidence. But you can't do that when they feel behind, their friends are ahead, they missed 2 weeks, they're behind. That doesn't help confidence. So you want to rectify that. Private lessons will satisfy that. So that's how we charge for privates. But understand, a lot of schools don't do private lessons. Why? They look at it from a monetary viewpoint. If we teach a 45-minute group class, we're bringing in $400 to $500 because it's $20 to $25 per head. We teach a half-hour private. Even me, the most expensive, an hour is $160. Why do it? I'll go into the school today and teach private lessons from 3 o'clock till 7:30. Why do I do it? Because it's about investing in a relationship, because it's about over-servicing our clients. And as I shared, we do about 100,000 a year in private lessons, so it's nothing to discard. Yeah, 209 is for twice a week, MJ. 209 for twice a week. Hey, Mike, go pick up those after-school kids. Cool. Let me try to get to this last question. And then if you have any more, feel free to type them in. All right. There seems to be a trend in the martial arts business community. I love this. You're going to want to hear this, of buying into a whole bunch of services that we were being told will transform our schools. What are your thoughts on what we should and should not be investing in? Well, I remember 3 years ago sitting with my financial guy and I asked him, where should I invest my money? Should we do more fiber optics in India? What should we do? He looked at me square in the eye and said, your best investment is yourself. Invest in yourself. I spend a lot of money on seminars, webinars, courses. I read all the time. all the time. And I know it's hard because everyone's out there saying, well, transform your school, will make you increase your bottom line. I don't believe in any of that because I've done it and I fell flat on my face with some of these things. You know why? Because I didn't go back to the very beginning. What are my core values? What resonates with my core values? Because if I don't believe in the product wholeheartedly, if I'm just looking at dollar signs because they're doing that, they're dangling that magic carrot in front of me saying, they'll transform my school, they'll make me $1 million, they're going to increase my leads, and I just simply latch onto it, guess what? I'm going to hurt myself. You know why? It's not in line with my core values. So, what should you be investing in? First and foremost, yourself. You better know a little bit about payroll. You better know about workers' comp. You better know about customer service, business 101. You better be able to talk to your accountant fluidly. You better be able to talk to your bookkeeper fluidly. You better be able to look at, P&L statements. You better be able to look at basic marketing and know how to do Publisher or Pages or PowerPoint to save yourself money. You have to know how to use basic software, understand social media. Understand social media, the animal that it is. We Facebook, Twitter, we Yelp, we push for reviews, Google's places. We use online services to support that. What should you not be investing in? Anything that promises you the world. Nobody can promise you the world, especially on the first date. I wouldn't believe that 2, 3 years into the relationship. It's proven over time. And if anyone tells you you're going to get rich with them, they're going to transform your school, they're going to do ABC, I doubt it. For every 1 or 2 schools that they're doing that with, they could probably not name 100 schools that are failing miserably under their same program. What works for them may not work for you. One size does not fit all. And you know that. We've all done that. We've at least bought 1 or 2 programs out there that we thought were just going to make us $1 million, transform our school, and we were so off base, weren't we? You did everything the manual said. You followed everything they told you to do. You went to every meeting and did everything they said. Have you done that? And it didn't work for you? What do they say to you? Oh, well, you didn't do it right. Well, maybe you did. Maybe it doesn't fit your core values. Maybe it doesn't fit, your demographic. Maybe it doesn't fit your school. I mean, that's why we don't have MMA programs. We're a kids school, family kids school through and through. I don't care what MMA I brought in, it wouldn't work because that's not the demographic we cater to. I love to watch fights and stuff. So do you see where I'm going with that? You need to be the smartest person you know. And the only way you're going to do that is through constant learning. So you need to invest in yourself and don't be investing in anything that doesn't resonate with your core values. Fair enough? Let's see, we got any more questions here? Any more questions? Oh, a few more. How are you advertising outside of the school? Oh my God. You want me to share with you on that? We do Michael Perella's FC Online. I'm using that right now. I directly went to Yext myself and cut a great deal at $30 a month, bypassed the middleman. So I use Yext to help get me listed at all the different business listings where I can post one place and it updates all of them. We use Constant Contact, email, direct email marketing. I used Rainmaker is the software that drives my school now. So within Rainmaker, we do text messaging, which I'm very careful about. Don't be text messaging people a bunch of stuff at weird hours of the night. Be very, very careful with text messaging. We use email flows in Rainmaker so we can set up a prospect on 3 or 4 emails over the next month, or new students, set them up on emails for the next 4 to 5 months. That can do that. Outside, we still do school talks, but I'm not big. People post things at Facebook. Ooh, look at me on a stage. I'm talking to 400 students. I don't think those work. Not at all. That philosophy of gym teacher for a day. We just went into a public school and we did kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. We did every class for 30 minutes. So I went back to the school several times. So we did roughly 12 different classes over a 3-day period. And I cannot tell you the impact that had as far as generating leads. It generated tons of leads for us, tons of leads. So that served us really, really, really well. So you want to, like I said, you got to find 70 ways to advertise to people, not one way to advertise to 70 people. So again, what works and what doesn't? You're going to find one piece of advertising work for you today. Next, it doesn't. You go do this really cool fair, the school fair. You get 100 leads. Next time you go back and you get 10. Well, why is that? Maybe it's done. Advertising is ebb and flow. What works today doesn't. Right now, the big thing on the internet is what? Reviews, and more reviews. But they have to be good reviews, and they have to be, good reviews, meaning to say the spiders are going to pick them up. say, hey, this is not a bogus review. I'm going to take this and not filter it, and I will post it. So the big thing in the internet is reviews. And if you don't have a Facebook, at least a Facebook, and you don't have a decent review site, whether it's Google Places, Yelp, or anything out there, you're in big trouble. You're way, way behind. And your website, it's your calling card. People go to that website. For us, people Google martial arts in San Francisco. Boom. They look at all our Yelp reviews. Boom. Then they'll go to our website. And Mike Perella has great copy at FC Online. It works today for us, and we're revamping it constantly because things change all the time. And then they go to the squeeze page. Either they sign up and buy a 4-week membership with a uniform for $69, or they go into the email marketing machine that Michael has, and they start getting these steady flow of emails. To me, it's like an IV drip. If it's a good built-in email marketing program, it's like an IV drip, just giving them little nutrients without being annoying. Fair enough? So we do tons of outside advertising. How does your new student introductory process look like? I've got a whole doc. We have 4 pages of what to do in the first 45 minutes. Can you believe that? The first 45 minutes is scripted, that people study and learn, because we want that first experience to be awesome. We want it to be awesome. So our new student introductory process, we really push everybody 4 weeks and a uniform for $69. We find adults, and this is again research, and I got this one from Perella, that adults make that decision within 3 classes. They do. They'll decide within 2 to 3 classes, do they want to be there or not? Parents are a little more fickle. And we love to be able to look a parent in the eye and say, you know what? We want you to test drive the product. So $69 minimal investment. We normally sell the uniform for $55. Minimal investment. You try it for a month. Give us the opportunity to prove ourselves to you, and we'll serve you really well. And at the end of the month, we'll talk about it. So they need at least a month. And during that month, we way overstaff our beginning classes. You think we're at 6 to 7 to 1 in our other classes? In our beginning classes, you will see we're roughly running at 2, 3 to 1. Yeah, we do, because we want that to be rock star. We want that to be the best experience. And we want to make sure that they're being served at the highest level possible, where there's no doubt in our minds that they're going to convert. Right now, our conversion rate for our 4 weeks free uniform, $69, we're converting at about 55, 60%. A lot of them are coming in through Groupons and Living Socials and web specials. Remember, they're not loyal to you. They're loyal to Groupon. So you really have to work 10 times harder. Do I believe there's good leads and bad leads? I believe there's better leads. I think all leads are good, but I believe there's better leads. And I said that referral from a parent that's been with me 3, 4 years and they've got 3 kids in my school, referring them to somebody. Oh, definitely. That's a great referral. And we pay for that. We have $1. Every person you refer that signs up for a regular membership, I will give you 35 $1 to use in our school towards memberships, pro shops, anything that you want. So there is a monetary value there that we offer people. Next question. How does your upgrade process look like? Okay, and we'll wrap it up with this because I know people got to go and get on with their day. We don't have an upgrade process. Randy sent this to me. I know, Randy, people are conditioned to have Masters Club, Black Belt clubs, and I've shared with you my philosophy about that. We are called one, and that's our whole chant now. Who are we? One. Who are we? One. Who are we? One. Martial arts. And we've been using that chant in all our classes because we are one. So we all have the black uniform. And you want to talk about branding as far as your logo, your look, and brand notoriety? You walk into my school. Could you imagine? Let's use this metaphor. You walk into a fast food joint. Someone's wearing a KFC outfit. Someone's wearing a McDonald's outfit. Someone's wearing a Taco Bell outfit. Someone's wearing Burger King. Someone's wearing, you're looking going, wow, I'm not sure what this is here. But you walk into our school, everybody is in the same black uniform. It's cool looking too. I think it looks cool, but we don't have that sense of separatism, elitism. I'm challenged. I see blue, red, white, camouflage. It's like, I don't see any brand. I don't see that sense of team. Could you imagine the 49ers? Oh, sorry. Some of you Green Bay fans, huh? Could you imagine sitting there and seeing a football team and this guy's got his shirt out, this guy's got no shirt on, he's wearing a t-shirt, he's wearing a uniform. You want to have that cohesiveness in your brand, in your presentation, in your execution. So you want to be extremely mindful of that, as far as the upgrade process. Anytime I do something in my school, I ask myself, why? Why do I have an upgrade process? I asked this to this Korean friend of mine. And they're big on that. 3-year contracts, upgrades, testing fees. I asked them, why do you have those things? You know what his answer was? Well, because it generates more revenue. I looked at him, I said, tell me, how do all those things serve your clients better and give them that perception that you were serving them really well and trying to serve them better? He looked at me and shook his head. He says, "It doesn't." So honestly, we look at that upgrade process as a way of generating more revenue. Why not just look at that rock star instead of upgrading him to a black belt club? Serving him really well. Invest more into the relationship. Show up at his school on his birthday and bring him a pizza. You know, invite him into your instructors and training program and say it's free of charge. How about inviting him into your hyper program and saying it's free of charge? You just really appreciate who they are and how hard they're training, and you want to upgrade them into this program with no additional fee. You want to talk about retention? Can you see that picture? Anybody with me on that?